Yeah, still no debris signature here, but you see we still have a pretty tight couplet here. Moving just to the north of Pilot Grove, heading towards Highway 70 at this moment. Looks like we just got a new update on our tornado warning. Does that show two? Okay, it just only shows one. Yeah, still radar indicated here according to the NWS. All right, we'll do a zoomed out view while we wait for our latest scans. What about Ozark? Where is Ozark? We've covered Ozark before on this channel. It's not exactly sure where it is. I feel like it's like somewhere in and along, like this road up here. Oh, sorry, I don't exactly know where Ozark is. Southern Illinois is like the very southern portion of Illinois, believe it or not, is in a high risk. North of that, near Carbondale, Mount Vernon, and Centralia, there is a moderate risk. It look like it's coming to Poplar Bluff. You mean Arkansas? Isn't there a Poplar Bluff in Arkansas, or is that Missouri as well? Oh, yeah. There's Poplar Bluff down there. Yeah, it will eventually get there, and I think Poplar Bluff is like I think that is just in the high risk. Yeah, you are just inside that high risk. So you got a 5 out of 5 for severe weather. It's going to be very dangerous later on in the Poplar Bluff area. So yeah, this is going to come towards Poplar Bluff. You definitely want to be weather aware and ready to go there as the storms approach. All right, we should have had enough time here on our radar scan. Let's come back into analysis mode. Yeah, north and east of Neosho. Looks like this we have a couple of areas of rotation, a broader circulation over here. Still a circulation trying to develop south and east of Neosho, but still relatively on the weaker side of things. Further up to the north, this tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. No rotation left on that guy. And this one still has a decent little pocket of rotation now just to the north and west of Pilot Grove. Pilot Grove should still be in their safe spots if you have one, or in a ditch if you're in the area that just got impacted by the last tornado that came through this area. And then next in line is going to be Chateau Springs and Lyman. Out of here. Yeah, let's go check in on our northern mode. Probably a couple people tuning in from up here. Up here in our northern mode, there's really not a lot happening. But we're monitoring our meso-analysis to see how far north our area of instability goes. As of right now, you can see most of Illinois and Indiana really doesn't have that much instability. Still, some brief spin-ups will be possible, but for the most part, your tornado threat's really not going to get to its maximum until this area of instability makes it up there. So, if you live in this area, just be weather aware. But as of right now, your threat's really not that elevated until this instability starts to make it up there. And latest models are saying that's a possibility. But so I would certainly be ready to go at the very least. But right now, we're not really seeing anything overly concerning in this cluster of storms. In terms of rotation, we do have some damaging winds on this storm. With 60-mile-per-hour winds gusts heading towards Whitehall and Patterson and Pittsfield. This storm, if any of the storms, would be closest to our instability. So that makes sense why this is severe thunderstorm warned. And in fact, it actually has a little area, some broad circulation. Look at that, south of Louisiana, heading towards Pleasant Hill. That might get tornado warned if that rotation persists. It looks like our southern tornado warning has expired as expected, and now we're back. Now we're back to one tornado warning here near the Pilot Grove area. Right in there, there's our area of circulation still ongoing with this storm. No debris signature right now on it, though. Still not a tornado on the ground, but still pretty darn close to trying to produce one. So definitely a storm still worth your respect and to be into shelter for. Waking up from yesterday's flop. Well, there was actually a potentially larger tornado on the ground yesterday. Let's see if we can see anything from our camera view yet. Is a Pilot Grove storm going to hit southern Columbia? No, that's going to go to the west of Columbia, Missouri. Trying to see if I can see anything back out there, but it's just pretty milky. I do want to check one more time. Sometimes these cameras go down and they come back up. I want to make sure these guys are officially out of the game here. Yeah. Are still about this one north of this. Ooh, this one's actually got a view of something. It might be looking at the storm from far away. We'll keep that one underneath me for now. And latest scan on this storm is still indicating a pretty tight area of circulation right in there. Still no debris signature on the ground. We just got an update to our warning. Still radar indicated tornado warning right now. And it touched down in the Joplin warning. There was a report from a news agency that it did touch down, but we haven't heard any more evidence of that. So the news agency might have just been wrong. We don't know at this point. Time for Florence, Alabama. That's going to be later on today. Can't really go over timing right now while we have a tornado on the ground. Sorry. Well, not a tornado on the ground, but a tornado warning in progress. Sorry. ETA for Carbondale. I think that's closer to here. We kind of give a rough estimate. Yeah, kind of hard to tell. Maybe like 4 to 5 hours. Latest scan, we now have this rotation just to the north of 70. You can see on the right side, got those yellow pixels, grayer pixels, still touching, still indicating a decent couplet on this storm. But still no debris signature. So this is still not currently on the ground. Ping pong ball sized hail. Just got warned over there near Crawford, Seneca, Ohio. Watch out there. That ping pong ball sized hail can crack windows. Let's do a broad view of Missouri again. Storm moving 80 miles per hour through Ohio. Yeah, these storms are very fast moving storms today. The time should have hit Poplar Bluff. That is probably going to be in about 2 to 3 hours if I had to guess. Thoughts on Michigan? Still waiting to see if that instability is going to make it back up to you. It's pretty conditional up there in Michigan. But as of right now, the instability axis is about a couple hundred miles to your south and west. You guys need to be aware, especially if that instability can get back going up there. Because I mean, again, that's where our main forcing region is. That's where some of our higher shear values will be located. If that instability can recover, it could be particularly dangerous up there. 3/4 of an inch hail reported in Pilot's Grove. Okay, thank you, Dan. And this line of severe thunderstorms is warned for 1 inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. This is going to be heading towards the Springfield, Aurora, Purdy, Ash Grove, Walnut Grove, and Bolivar. And we have an arc of supercells inside of it. These cells are struggling to mature, but if they can, any one of them could potentially try to produce a tornado, but none of them are, attempting to mature at this point. Further down to the south, we have some broad rotation near this storm. North and west of Stillwell. That one is still struggling at the moment. And then further down, even further to the south, we have another area, an outflow dominated area of wind heading towards Clayton. And all the way down into the Dallas area, we are still watching for some convective initiation here, which is certainly possible. It's not quite there yet. Definitely something worth keeping an eye on, though. How many storm rounds? Could be a couple. I just got to upgrade on our, or not an upgrade, an update on our warning. Looks like they're going to be allowing this to expire. And latest scan out of this storm looks like that rotation is still technically there, but it's definitely not as tight as it was. If we bring it back, you can see that it was a lot tighter earlier, and now it's starting to kind of get a little bit broader. See how close those pixels are, and then they start to get farther away from each other. There is still rotation on this storm, though, so it's still worth keeping an eye on. But as of right now, it's looks like it is starting to lose some of its rotation. Let me see if there's any news that I can report to you guys. Yeah, no new news to report. Other than potentially some severe damage reported in the Pilots Grove area. That was the last little bit of news that we got. We got damage to residents, so houses in Pilot Grove, and then debris was lifted out of Pilot Grove and apparently has made it on the Highway 70, and they're currently in the process of cleaning that up. Things will uptrend later. Exactly. Yeah, this is just the beginning of this event. Let's go look at our latest meso analysis here and see what we're dealing with. It looks like our capping inversion that is currently over these storms, still keeping them relatively weaker than they could be. It does seem like that capping inversion, that surface inversion, is starting to go away, which would not be a good sign. As these storms move into a less capped environment, they're certainly going to have that potential to become more tornadic as this line moves through. At our lower levels, looks like we're still dealing with anywhere from 55 to 60 knots of shear out into this region. So definitely a strong shear environment. Our strongest shear, though, is in kind of like southern Missouri. But these storms further down to the south in parts of Oklahoma are starting to enter into a little bit higher of a shear environment out here as well. So these ones might start to rotate a little bit more down there in the Oklahoma area, and that will eventually move into parts of Arkansas. You can see further up to the north, though, we really do have, favorable shear environment still up there. But again, our latest mesoscale analysis is continuing to bring that instability further up to the north. If you compare it to the forecast, though, it's actually a little bit further shunted to the south than what was expected. So hopefully that kind of stays down to the south. But even though this part is a little bit further to the south here, Still have an instability axis over here, starting to push up to the north. On the right side of this, that might get up into areas like St. Louis, increasing the tornado threat, and then also could easily still get pulled up to the north into Illinois and Indiana. And again, if that happens, that is where your tornado threat, and that is when your tornado threat is going to be the highest up there on the northern mode of this risk. And again, if we come back over here to our outlook and just give a look at it, just for the new folks that are tuning in. This is our risk for today. We have an enhanced risk for severe weather all the way in the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, making it all the way up into southern Michigan, coming back down into areas like southern Illinois, Indiana, going into western Kentucky, Tennessee, and northwestern Mississippi, and parts of uh, Louisiana, going into Arkansas. That's an area that's a 4 out of 5 for severe weather. And then in this pink, that's the highest categorization you can get out of these severe weather events. That means confidence is high, that a strong tornado risk will exist in this area. So areas like Pine Bluff, Jonesboro, Hernando, Memphis, northern Jackson, Dyersburg, Union City, Murray, Cape Girardeau, and Sykeston really need to be weather aware out there, as you guys are in that bullseye for the worst severe weather for today. I will say it is a little bit of a conditional risk. There's definitely some failure modes, and you can kind of see those failure modes right now. We got a lot of clustering with our storms right now, but even with that clustering, as we've seen, stronger tornadoes are still possible in this region. So if you live over here, further to the east of the line, the tornado threat is forecasted to only get worse, especially as our inversion starts to go away. Let me check our satellite. I wonder if we have any heating out here. Yeah, some heating is occurring over in Arkansas, Mississippi, going into parts of Tennessee. You can see we do have a clearing here. So that is going to increase our instability out in front of this thing. We take off this flash flood advisory. It's getting in the way a little bit. Was that a flash flood watch? No. All right. By the way, this little polygon here, that's for this tornado warning, that has been allowed to expire. This takes a little bit, but I will say, latest scans out of this storm near New Franklin are still looking relatively dangerous. A little bit on the broader side of things, but if you live over there near Fayette and north of New Franklin, I would certainly be paying attention. Further down to the south here into Missouri, still got some storms approaching the Springfield area. In fact, let me get a camera on these storms. I know we have cameras in Springfield. I don't know how far to the west it goes, but I know we have cameras in the Springfield area at least. Yeah, here's Springfield. We actually have cameras pretty darn close to this area. If they work, maybe that one doesn't work. That one's in rain. So we might get a good view of the storm eventually. There's still a chance that these storms struggle throughout the day. All right. If you're in that high risk or moderate risk, I do want to make the statement, although it's a dangerous day, there is no guarantee that it's going to be any worse than what it is right now. Conditions should improve, but sometimes they just don't. Like yesterday, we had a lot of our models saying that storms were going to fire, and no storms fired. So even the models can be wrong in the short term. But the overall statement that you need to be just knowing going into tonight and later in the evening is that the environment is there for some very dangerous tornadoes today. If any storm can fully take advantage of that, we could easily get like an EF3, EF4 type tornado today. Yeah, tag me on X for pictures, Tina. All right. Let me grab my water really quick. 1 second. Need a little bit of a hydration boost. Over here north of Bella Vista, this is probably one of our more organized, broader circulations at this point, but again, it's not really that concerning. We got another area, broader circulation north of Monette, as west of Springfield. Those storms actually would technically track pretty close to Springfield, especially this one. This is the storm we would have to watch for the Springfield area, the one that's near Monette. This one up here near Miller is going to miss Springfield. There is some little itty bits of rotation there. It's not concerning at this point. Let me look at the storm aloft, though, just to make sure we don't have any stronger rotation up there. Yeah, not a whole lot of stronger rotation aloft either. So there's not a. This storm's going to need a little bit of time before it tries to produce a tornado. But it's certainly something to be keeping an eye on as this storm gets closer. Because again, almost every single little one of these little commas that you see here, backwards commas, I guess you could say, that is a supercell embedded in this line. If any of these can mature within that line, that is where your tornado threat for Springfield would come from. Was I surprised waking up to a high risk? No, we were live when that high risk came out. But yeah, I mean, when I saw it, I was surprised. I'm still kind of surprised. In my opinion, this doesn't quite meet my criteria for a high risk, but SPC is different. Regardless if it's a moderate risk or a high risk, the wording is the same. What I would tell you guys, which is the environment's dangerous. So arguing over who's right, who's wrong is kind of pointless. It's just, hey, the environment out there is objectively dangerous, and you should be, making sure you're taking proper precautions. A little bit of a couplet here showing up again south of Fayette, here in Missouri. Still keeping an eye on that. There's also a storm up here that is showing some broad circulation aloft, but that is in like a deep radar hole. What is this one showing? Yeah, this radar is also showing that rotation aloft on this, trying to organize near Shelbyville and Shelbina. New tornado warning has been issued over here near Fayette. If you live in Fayette, Seabury, Pumpkin Center, Bunker Hill, and Burton, you guys need to be in your safe spots. So again, for that rotation, we were just looking at. The storm has been rotating for quite a bit. Latest scan out of our radar is still indicating an area here of some rotation on the storm. See right in here, there's your area of rotation. It's under reflectivity. No debris signature right now, but certainly a storm still to keep in your shelters for, just in case. Is it near Chicago? It's raining a bit. Not really. We've got some rain up there, but none of these storms are really that powerful near Chicago right now. Some light rain to moderate rain. Do got some storms about to move into the Michigan area, though. Over here near Grand Haven, South Haven, and Benton Harbor. I'm about to get some thunderstorms over there. We still have some severe thunderstorm warnings happening with these storms in Ohio. This one's about to expire, though, so okay, looks like things are clearing out a little bit out in front of this storm near Springfield. You might want to move this camera a little bit further to the west again, though. Never mind. This one's still in a good position. Hopefully, we can eventually get our eyes on one of these storms. But the bad thing about today is that it's just going to be like if we do like when our storm chasers do go live, as you can see, a lot of these little circulations, especially earlier on, are going to be rain wrapped, and it's really going to be hard to tell what is going on, even if you're just like right next to a storm. Yeah, latest scan on our storm here, still indicating an area of rotation here, just to the south of Fayette. We got no debris signature on this storm yet, though. Still, oh wow, a little bit of broad circulation starting to develop over here near Hermitage as well. And in and around Springfield, still not seeing anything that is concerning rotation wise yet with any of these storms. Just might be the capping inversions a little bit too strong in this area right now. Potentially some elevated winds also trying to make its way into Urbana. When does the main risk start? Pretty much as soon as like okay, so our SPC meso analysis is saying that our cap is starting to erode. Our surface inversion is starting to erode as we get some heating over here into Arkansas and Missouri. So as soon as the storms hit that area, which is going to be further down to the south, so our little axis of surface inversion kind of clearing here is pretty much right in this area. So once these storms get to here, and or if that area of that capping inversion expands, we could even see something try to happen a little bit earlier. Just depends. That should be when the peak of the tornado threat is getting started. Loud thunderstorms here in Chicago earlier. Okay, thank you for reporting that help. Thank you, Donald, for subscribing. Let's come back over here and check in on our tornado warning. I still no debris ball yet with this storm. So definitely an area though of rotation. Man, this storm has been rotating for the longest time. And it hasn't, as far as I can tell, has not produced a tornado yet. Like this environment is just right on the cusp of being able to be tornadic, but it's just not getting there. But it looks like Fayette can come out of their safe spots now. Next in line for this area of rotation is going to be 124 and A here north and west of Harrisburg. Back down here west of Springfield. My attention is starting to zero in this area, but it does appear like that is in the clear air. You can see there's your rotation right in there. And our mesocyclone is back over in this region. So they're a little bit displaced, but that could certainly indicate a strengthening inflow coming into the storm right now, which makes me curious. Our upper level rotation is looking on this storm. Yeah, still not very strong upper level rotation yet. But that inflow strengthening on that storm could be a sign that that storm is trying to organize a little bit better there south of Monette. Yeah, roofs missing in unfortunately in Nevada. Yeah, we're getting reports. We've got reports out of that from the scanner earlier. Looks like we got a potential video here out of Nevada, Missouri. Look at this. Posting it in chat. I can't show it to you guys via copyright, but you can look at it on the website there. Thank you for sharing that, Tornado Explorer. Do we have any videos of that yet? The actual tornado? Oh, Nevada. Okay, thank you. It looks like they are continuing this tornado warning. We're near the Fayette area. Yeah, I mean, we still got a tight area of circulation here, heading up to the north and east. That hasn't changed. Looks like our storms are slowly getting closer to our camera. Let me get a refresher of where this camera is located. I kind of forgot. Okay, so it's located at the top of that bend. So the storm's not quite there. What we're looking at is some moisture that is condensing out in front of the storm that's crossing over the screen right now. So that's not like a wall cloud or anything. We're still keeping an eye on this camera. This one is oops. This camera is located right here in this area, and we do have some storms coming in into that region. And if anything comes into Springfield, we got plenty of cameras out in this area. Looking back over here, and we actually have an area of rotation now consolidating just to the south of Wheaton. That is now lining up with our radar pretty decently here. No debris signature just yet, but I got a feeling a tornado warning is coming pretty soon for this storm here in Purdy. That would it looks like it's tracking to the south of Springfield as of this moment, although it's kind of going northeast a little bit. So potentially like a Nixa would be an area that would need to be, thinking about taking shelter from this storm if this can fully organize. Also, a little bit of broad circulation starting to get started over here near Ash Grove that we got to keep an eye on there. And then a little bit of something over here near Urbana as well, worth still watching. Come check back up with our area of rotation near Fayette. Yeah, still kind of hanging in there. Oh, look at our camera. Camera's actually looking at the storm. Or was. They were now getting damage coming out of Moundville, Missouri. Looks like a house or a business completely collapsed in Moundville, Missouri. Collapsed onto a car. Oh, that was a gas station. Oh yeah, there's your storm. So this is the storm that's approaching Missouri right now. You can see the base of the storm, those darker clouds that we're looking at. Do you get access to the camera? Here, I'll just share it in chat. This camera operator is seems a little bit clueless for now. Keeps on circulating the camera like he doesn't know where to look at. But this view right here is showing the base of the storm that is coming close to the Springfield area. But we'll keep our eye on that camera if we need to use it. Hopefully, we don't need to use any Springfield cameras today. Yeah, latest scans here on our radar. Looks like a little bit less rotation being picked up now on our Fayette storm. And I honestly have no confidence that this won't continue to rotate at this point, given the fact that it's still at a decent area of rotation, or it's been rotating for a while. Yeah, this area just to the east of Shelbyville, still an area of some broader circulation at the moment. You see, they've got some grays in between our greens and reds, but this one is trying to get organized over here, just to the west of Quincy, and then further down to the south. Still monitoring this area of rotation near Purdy. It's still there. Storm's looking a little bit weirder here on radar, though. It doesn't look as organized. We'll see if that translates into anything as our newest scans come out. Maybe that rotation will weaken a little bit. We'll see. Interesting thing about this storm right now is that we only have like one severe thunderstorm warning on it. Further up to the north, near Lori, that's warned for 1 inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. This is that one that's had some broader circulation, maybe trying to tighten up a little bit there near Cross Timbers and Max Creek. Heading to Miami. Okay. Ridge limit the severe weather. It can, depending on where it is, but if there's enough instability on like the right side of the ridge, you can still easily get some like derechos and stuff, or meso storms, mesoconvective systems, mesoscale convective systems. They're like kind of like their own little circulation, smaller. They're usually what cause derechos. So yeah, our ridge can stifle more widespread severe weather, but like say you got like a high pressure system like right here, and then say you have like pretty decent flow aloft in this region, and for some reason you have like 4,000 joules per kilogram out in front of that. That's usually a recipe for some uh, pretty dangerous severe weather there. But yeah, it just depends, really. All right, looks like our tornado warning has been allowed to expire. Thanks for making it this educational. Yeah, no problem. I'm here to teach you guys. A lot of people, when they watch weather, understand it. Having it simplified it helps understand it, and we try to keep it as simple as possible. But sometimes going into detail, because when you start to understand the finer details of these storms, you'll if you watch my stream enough, you're gonna slowly learn how to read those rotations. So maybe you know at like 3 a.m. in the morning, I'm dead asleep, but for some reason, a tornado warning happens in your area. You watch for long enough, you might be able to identify whether or not that storm is dangerous or not as it approaches you, and that can help with your storm anxiety. If you're one of the kind of individuals that suffer from storm anxiety, whether it's from a storm from the past or just general fear of storms, learning how to read radar can be a huge help in terms of lowering that storm anxiety. So I would encourage anybody that suffers from storm anxiety to really pay attention to what I'm saying as we do these breakdowns of the rotations and all of that, so that you can see what to look out for on radar, just in case you're on your own during a tornado warning. So check up on our northern mode again, see if any of these storms are doing anything. Yeah, they're pretty messy storm mode still up into the Illinois area. We're still keeping an eye for a QLCS tornado threat up here, but so far not a whole lot happening. Oh wow, our camera is actually getting a view of the some of the storms in the area here near Springfield. That's kind of looking at this storm here, or this area actually, just to its north. What is that? Is that a raindrop under there? I think that's like a scratch or something on the camera. I thought that was a funnel for a second, but that is like a raindrop or a scratch on the camera. And Springfield, Missouri is going to be one of those areas here where we have at least in our short term, an elevated threat for tornadoes with these storms that are coming through. We don't have anything that's screaming tornado warning right now, but it is certainly something to be prepared for, as it is certainly possible that we get some rotation with these storms before it heads in there. So don't need to be in your safe spots, but just be ready to go, because this is your main threat for today here in the Springfield area. Yeah, well, let's do a model update. Why not? Here, let's come back over to here. Let's go over the timing for everybody again, since we have a little bit of time here in between tornado warnings. How many people in chat want that? Do you guys want a timing update? We did just get our latest model runs on the 12Z. So people want a timing update. So let's do that really quick while we don't have any tornado warnings ongoing. So this is our latest model run here out of the HRRR. Looks like at around 10 11 a.m. Storms are going to be heading through the Springfield area. And as we get into around 1 p.m. is probably when we're really going to start to see that cap, a surface inversion, start to erode here. So over there near Jefferson City, like near Fort Smith, also Springfield, need to be weather aware within these time frames. But I mean, as you can see, our line of storms might be a little bit more progressive than this HRRR run. So maybe I'd subtract an hour from these times. Further up to the north, you can see that over here near like Springfield, Illinois, potentially Bloomington and Chicago by around 1 p.m. And then further down to the south, over here near like Dallas, in Tyler, Texas. Any one of these more discrete storms out in front of the main line, that's going to be our main tornado threats as this moves off to the east. Coming into 2 p.m., storms are now starting to move into like St. Louis, Conway, close to Hot Springs there, close to Tyler, Texas still. And then further up to the north, we could have a glob of rain potentially. It doesn't really look very organized there near Chicago. Seems like our northern mode might struggle here if we don't get enough instability. By 3 p.m., we might have to be watching out for these prefrontal supercells here in Indiana and Ohio for a brief but strong tornado threat up there. And then further down to the south, looks like storms are still going to be potentially impacting St. Louis by 3 p.m. A line of storms is going to be moving near Hot Springs and Tyler by 3 p.m. as well. And continuing to push this forward another hour or two. You can see those move by around 5 p.m. We got storms near Urbana, Jonesboro, Pine Bluff, Shreveport. Prefrontal cells still trying out here, but again, no guarantee that those are going to mature fully. But if there's enough instability, there definitely will be that possibility. So still some question marks up there. But further down to the south, we're mainly going to be dealing with some embedded supercells here, unless we can see some more prefrontal supercells. Which doesn't really, we're not really seeing any evidence of that. So, a high end QLCS tornado threat as we move into 7 p.m. For areas like Harrisburg, Paducah, Union City, Blytheville, down there near Memphis, a little bit more conditional the further south we go, kind of near the Clarksdale and El Dorado, Arkansas, and Mississippi area. Further up to the north, Indianapolis, Bloomington, Fort Wayne by 7 p.m. Some thunderstorms over there near Toledo as well. Yeah, people say that the audio is skipping. It's not. It's just a YouTube thing. Just refresh. Coming over to around 9 p.m. Our line of storms is continuing to progress into the Pine Bluff, Memphis, Jackson, Louisville, and Indianapolis area. Stronger QLCS tornadoes will be possible. One thing I'm noticing on this model run, though, there's really not a whole lot of any prefrontal supercells. Maybe as we go into Memphis here, these could be a little bit more prefrontal, but it seems like for the most of the day, especially as we get into the nighttime hours, we're going to be dealing with a QLCS threat. So maybe a lower chance for violent tornadoes with this kind of setup, but still a chance for some stronger emitted tornadoes in the line, and some damaging winds will certainly be associated with that there. So going into 11 p.m. here, Memphis, Jackson, Clarksville, Bowling Green, Lexington, Maysville, Chillicothe, and Columbus, Ohio are going to be getting pretty close, or directly next to our line of storms. And then eventually in the northern mode, by 12 a.m. that moves into, or 1 a.m. that moves into Cleveland, over here near Nashville and Richmond, Kentucky, and Nashville, Tennessee. We're talking around 1 a.m. there for you guys, in Memphis as well. And then our southern mode starts to die off. And this is around the time when this line of storms is going to stall out. Our tornado threat will still technically be there, but it'll be a lot more fewer and far in between. And this is when our flood threat is going to be at its highest. Going over to tonight into tomorrow, we're just going to have a lot of rain along this boundary. And then eventually, by the time we go back into tomorrow, by 5 p.m., we could have new supercells organizing with a strong tornado threat possible heading into Little Rock and Memphis. It's a conditional threat, very conditional. No strong tornado risk, I don't think, for this day yet, but models have been indicating a potentially semi-discrete to discrete mode here. Winds are going to be pretty parallel, but there will be an area here of some elevated shear. So as we go into tomorrow, these storms could certainly pose a risk there for some tornadoes. And then it kind of turns back into a major flood threat as we move throughout the third, going into the fourth in the morning. And then that flood threat starts to shift over here to areas like Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri. So that's kind of our updated timing there. Hopefully everybody got the information they needed. Any rotation near Springfield? Let's check it out. Nothing that I can see right now, no. I mean, there's a little bit of something down here near Marionville, but seems like we're getting a brief break here in our tornado activity. I'm looking all the way up this line, just not seeing much evidence. Let's go a little bit further up to the north. And not seeing much evidence of really any rotation on any of these storms right now. Maybe a little bit of something over here south and west of Lori that needs to, be watched, but that is still relatively weak at this moment. Check back up further up to the north with our line of storms over here near Peoria, Illinois. Still no QLCS tornado threat developing here. Definitely a line of some damaging winds potential. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest, guys. That model run is not a high risk environment. Let me be honest. Can't hear you. You're skipping out. All right, so let's try to figure this out. So apparently, people are having trouble hearing me, and my voice is skipping. Is everybody having that same issue? It just sounded the tornado sirens where I am. There must be testing it. That's a horrible time to test it. Okay, I see people. I see people that are having some issues with the audio. Again, that is not me. That is YouTube. right? So refresh the stream in order to get that latest, or in order to get the most clearest audio. Hit the refresh button on your browser, or close the stream and reopen it on your phone. Or if you're on TV, do the same thing on your TV. I'm gonna be honest. That last model run just looked like a line of storms with an embedded QLCS threat, which is the best case scenario in this environment. There's still going to be a strong tornado threat, but once that line of storms starts to stall and kind of fall apart, and then that outflow boundaries, pushes out in front of that, we're definitely going to see tornado risk go down after that. So yeah, thank you, Ice Cream, for the two. I do appreciate that. So Florence will be on the weaker side? Yes. Yes, Florence will be on the weaker side, Ice Cream. Is Ohio going to be okay? I mean, as far as I can tell, it mainly just looks like some damaging winds up there. Just really depends on how much if you live in Western Ohio, though, there is a brief chance for some more prefrontal cells to try to fire, but that's really dependent on how far north our moisture goes. Let me see if we have any updates on that in particular. Still don't have any new mesoscale updates. So is it over? No, it's not over. We still have a tornado threat with this storm. It looks like it's going to struggle here for a little bit. Then once it hits some better instability, it should strengthen again. And then we're going to have a line of storms really extending all the way from the Great Lakes down in through the southeast and the southern plains. But it's going to be a line of storms, it seems like. Not any, I didn't see like literally any evidence of a prefrontal storm. So it looks like we're going to be dealing mainly with the QLCS tornado threat, which we can still get strong tornadoes in there, but we're going to be talking about more briefer tornadoes that are on the ground for less time. In comparison, if you have a more semi-discrete and discrete cells with this storm, they would be on the ground for a long time and have a much higher potential of being a much stronger tornado. Preparing for tonight here in Springfield, that's good. Yeah, we don't use Connor anymore if he is live. Don't think any of our storm chasers are live yet. See if Brett Adair is live. We will have like up to 4 storm chasers today, but they're probably not going to go live until later when the storms are getting close to their peak. Yeah, the Ohio Valley right now is a relatively muted threat. As you can see, we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings out here. We just have, or actually, sorry, not in the Ohio Valley, in the Midwest. We don't really have any severe thunderstorms out here, but in the Ohio Valley and in Ohio, we do. There are some severe storms out here with some 60-mile-per-hour winds, or actually, no, some half-dollar sized hail heading towards Newark and Heath. Then further up to the north, we have another half-dollar sized hail storm heading towards Utica, and then another one over here near Mansfield. These storms will eventually make their way into Zanesville, Coshocton, New Philadelphia, Canton, Akron, and Cleveland. Tornado threat should be relatively low, but technically it's not impossible with these storms, given the crap. I mean, given the fact that there is still a decent shear environment out here, even though there's like barely any instability. Looks like these storms are actually falling apart near Springfield. This rain and thunderstorm blob, the last thing we're gonna have in Chicago. Yeah, kind of, uh, it kind of appears like you guys might be pretty close here to some storms. It might go into southern Chicago, but the instability is relatively weak. So, your highest chance for anything is really just going to be severe weather up there. Someone put their address in chat. Do not do that. Do not do that. That is not smart. There's a lot of people in here. One of those people might be, most people watching the stream are probably great people. But there's maybe one or two that are just waiting for someone to do what you just did. And they might not have your best interests in mind. It was Bass Pro Shop. See, look at that. People already searched it up. As soon as you posted it in, they were searching it up. Andy, that's crazy. Yeah. Relatively quiet right now. Relatively quiet. How did everybody sleep last night, by the way? They followed your plan to order 400 pizza and send it to their house? Oh, well, let me give you my address then. I could go for some pizza. Heard lots of thunder. Yeah, I bet you that's been an issue all day for lots of folks. That's one thing these storms definitely still have is a lot of lightning. Thank you, Philip, for subscribing. And this is just maybe a good time to remind you guys, if you have enjoyed the coverage so far this morning, consider hitting that subscribe button and maybe leaving a like on the stream. Also, still time to share the stream. If you guys haven't shared the stream yet, please consider that as well. Sound good here? All right, thank you, Terry. Terry, you might be behind on the stream, by the way. You'll send some pizza. Not gonna actually do that. 1 inch hail in Licking, Ohio. Ohio gets lots of wind. Yeah, it's pretty windy up there. You guys have been getting a lot of wind today, and over the past couple of storms that we've had in this area, you guys have been getting those gradient winds quite often. We'll run the radar for a little bit over here in the Ohio area, so you guys can kind of get a view of what the storms are doing and how they're moving. You like the stream and click the bell. There you go. Dang, how many Andys do we have in chat? What the heck? I swear I've seen like 5. We entered the food segment of the stream. Not really. Hopefully not. Thank you, Chronic, for the 5. Significant tornado parameter for Tennessee doesn't look anywhere as bad as yesterday. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of again conditional things for today. A lot of things kind of just gotta have to line up correctly. But my current thought process here is that our storms, as they move into this more pristine warm sector here, that's probably when they're going to become their most tornadic. We still got a decent time to go until then, I think. The peak of the tornado threat won't be for a while. A lot of things have to change as of right now. You can see our storms are looking a little bit anemic, a little bit on the skinny side, not as thick as they were earlier today, meaning that they are struggling to mature. Although there is a little bit of a couplet again with one of these storms. Let me see where this radar is here. Yeah, that is a legitimate area of rotation, south and west of Lori here in Missouri. A little bit on the weaker side, but worth keeping an eye on. What is this on our camera here? There's a storm back in there. Can't really tell though, due to the prevalence of our raindrops smattering our screen. Raindrop smattering issues here. Heard a lot of damage. Yeah, we've heard a lot of reports out of the Pilot Grove area. Sounds like they got hit pretty bad. The velocity signature was certainly pretty strong as it went over that region. So, really hope everybody makes it out of there with no injuries. Thank you, Loco, for subscribing. Thank you so much. When will Western Tennessee be affected the most? Most likely as we go into the evening and into the nighttime. Yeah, these storms are still kind of removed from the moisture. One of the things that we have ongoing that seems pretty obvious here is we got a little bit of a shield here on these storms, and that's probably eating up a lot of that instability before our main core of storms even gets there. Hammer needs a wiper. Yeah, needs a squeegee, a wiper, just some wind, something, some rain X. Although I don't know how you would continuously apply rain X on those cameras as they are they're pretty high up there. The peak is probably going to be in like 3 to 4 hours, if I had to guess. 3 to 4 hours, and it's going to be down here in the Boot Hill, Missouri, and Arkansas, according to our latest meso analysis. But again, conditional risk, but certainly should be aware. One of the questions that I have in my mind is when does this line of storm stall? Wherever it stalls, it's going to stall at some point today. Wherever it stalls, that is going to be when we most likely will see the peak stop. Yeah, still a potential broad area of circulation here north of Max Creek still. We're keeping an eye on that near Climax Springs. It's still there. It's not the only thing that's really sticking out to me on radar at this moment. In terms of rotation, let's come back up here to Ohio. Wow, a lot of our severe thunderstorm warnings have actually just expired here, but we do still have one about to go through Baltimore and then Newark, Ohio here. Some rain and thunder further up to the north is moving into the Cleveland and Akron area. Over here near Chicago, still looks like that boundary here for the stronger storms is still to your south, but some thunderstorms are about to move into southern Chicago. You'll be my storm chaser in Chicago. All right. So no more storms for Springfield. After this moves through, yeah, this is your last round. And in fact, it looks like can barely make it out. But there's a mesocyclone of one of our supercells right in front of us. Thank you, Jack, for subscribing. I appreciate it. How far east is the tornado threat in Tennessee? It should go, I think, throughout most of Tennessee. Yeah, it should go out through most of Tennessee. Probably stop in and around like the Lafayette area. Thank you, Jan, for upgrading to an EF3 membership. Thank you so much. That is a huge commitment, monthly commitment that keeps this channel funded. I do appreciate it. We rely on small dollar donations to fund everything that we do. That goes a really long way, those monthly contributions. And that raindrop just made it look like a tornado dropped out of that storm, but that's just a raindrop. I think the sprinkled storms will calm down by the time they hit Rolla. How far away? Let me see where Rolla is in comparison to our instability. Yeah, I mean they should. There's still going to be like a tornado threat with these storms presently, but they might struggle all the way into Rolla. That is within the realm of possibilities. At Springfield, I'm expecting these storms to strengthen again. Models indicate that these should struggle as they are in a capping inversion and less moisture, but these storms technically are moving closer to some more instability. Safest shelter to buy? I have no idea. In-ground shelter. That's what you want to. That's what you want to be focused on. Underground. The more you go underground, the more safe you will be from tornadic activity. It's going to need to give them the right environment. Exactly. That's the thing. It's like there's a lot of precipitation up here on our northern mode here. A lot out in front of these storms, which will most likely create an outflow boundary that sets up here. So it'll be interesting to see if that instability can really push out in front of this, and if we get another reinvigoration of our storms further up to the north. But again, I'm not sure how long any of you guys have been subscribed to this channel, but we've been talking about this possibility for days. Just a really messy storm mode, and it's going to be conditional. It's not a slam dunk day today. But if things can improve as we go throughout the day, it will form into a pretty volatile environment. So that's why we are live. That's why we are monitoring the storms, because the environment around these storms is still very conducive for tornadoes if our instability can improve as these storms move near there. But as of right now, these storms are sitting at about 500 joules per kilogram, and they have a capping inversion that's over them as well. Which essentially that capping inversion is going to keep the storms weaker, and 500 joules per kilogram is kind of on the lower end of our instability. But little spin ups will certainly still be possible. The amount of shear that we have right now, but they're going to be few and far in between until that instability starts to improve. We are starting to get some rotations up here now in the northern mode of these storms, just to the east of north and east. Actually, just north of Jefferson City, heading towards the Columbia area. Let me see if we have any cams up there. I think we should have some close if they're in operation. Yeah, we do have one here. We might actually get a view of this storm after this rain clears out. Let me see if there's one like just south of here. That would kind of be like the best of both worlds. Yeah, no cameras just south of there. What about the tad bit to the east? Might not be a bad camera if it's facing the right way. Keep it on this one for now. See if we see anything pop out of there We do have a little area of tight circulation forming south here, south and west of Colombia. Yeah, latest scan still indicates an area of rotation there, moving up into that region. And then further down to the south, near Tipton, we have some rotation trying to develop and organize. And then further down south of that, we have another area of rotation trying to develop and become better organized down here near Gravios Mills. You double check to make sure we don't have any debris on this. Yeah, as far as I can tell, no tornado has dropped out of this storm yet, but it's certainly worth keeping an eye on. And thank you, Marmalade, for becoming an EF1 member. Thank you for pledging your support for an entire month. Thank you. As big help out. It'll keep the lights on a little bit longer. Over the road truck driver here near Batesville, Arkansas. Not sure if you start heading that way. What are the tornado chances? I don't know which way you're going to be heading, but if you're near Batesville, you got a little bit of time before the storms happen. Thank you, Marmalade. Just do our best. Seems like our tornado threat is moving up a little bit further up to the north here with some of these cells. These ones up here are still, trying to be mature at least. And the more mature our storms are, the better of a chance they're going to have to try to produce a tornado. So we're going to keep an eye on any mature storms in this environment, even if it's completely capped out. Even if even if our storms are struggling to rotate, eventually they might try to do something. All right, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts up here near Lincoln, Atlanta, Randolph, Leroy, Empire, and Clinton, Illinois, are pushing through this area. And thank you, Chad, for subscribing. Ping pong ball-sized hail is also being warned over there near Haskell, Latimer, LaFleur, and Sequoia, Oklahoma. Yeah, storm shelters are really expensive, Staying safe from tornadoes appears to be something only the rich can do. It sucks. Although there are local storm shelters that are available to everybody. Kind of hard to find them, but you got one nearby. Make sure you always have an understanding of where it is. Yeah, another two little areas of rotation are now popping up over here near Barnett and Laurie and near Sunrise Beach, heading towards Eldon and Osage Beach. Keeping an eye on those for now. They seriously charge them? Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of labor they got to put in to put those things in. I know that there's some cheaper storm shelters, but they're like above ground storm shelters, and you run the risk of a large piece of debris slamming into one of those things. Like they're rated for their winds that they can withstand, not necessarily rated for if they can, withstand a hit from a semi truck circling around a tornado. So, the best way to just protect yourself from all the threats is to just get an underground one if you can, but it is pretty expensive. Attached to your garage floor. Yeah, that's the ones that my parents have, and it's really good. I always go over to my parents' house when there's like a big tornado threat in my area, and I use them for their storm shelter. Latest scan here still showing an area of some decent rotation over here near Barnett. There's a little bit of a chance, though, that we might be getting a little bit of hail contamination there, but for the most part, that seems legitimate. Heading towards Eldon. Looks like our storm is getting pretty close to our other camera, so let's go ahead and bring this back over to that one. See what it's like underneath that area. That's a pretty heavy rain there. This is closest camera that we'll probably have to that mesocyclone if it actually makes its way over here. Check out our latest rotation on this. I mean, we still got a decent couplet here. Moving into this area, that's pretty darn close to producing a tornado. That honestly needs a warning on it. Our camera is located right here too. So I think if I had to guess, it's not facing the right way. Let me see if we got any cameras like actually facing that area of rotation. Yeah, that's coming right into Columbia here in Missouri. Not sure if we'll see it with the camera, but we're gonna have a really close approach to this tornado with this camera. Um, if it does drop, if the tornado does drop, I mean, right there near the University of Missouri, that is a tight couplet, very close to producing a tornado. I'm very surprised there is no tornado warning on this storm. And honestly, that doesn't really quite make much sense. Had the cam on next to that one. Okay. Are you west or to the east of that? That's not loading for me. You might need to restart your stream. And if you're just now tuning in, we kind of have a unwarned. Hi, stream just loaded for me. Unwarned potential dangerous thunderstorm here. Area of rotation just went over University of Missouri, heading very close to our camera. Our camera is right here in this blue dot. And we're trying to see if we can see anything out of this storm. It's not warned right now, but the circulation is pretty intense. Let me see if there's any CC on this. There's still no CC drop, thankfully. And this is pretty much going to go directly by our camera here. So we'll see what this storm looks like very shortly. This is not looking at the storm, but there's a tornado on the ground. I mean, it could impact this camera as it'll come really close to it. But as of right now, I'm not seeing any evidence of that. But I do want to see what the storm looks like as it goes over our camera, just to kind of get an understanding if there's what that circulation looks like. Do we got a funnel? What's going on? Thank you, Sheena, for subscribing. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Huge shout out towards to Mizu for gifting a membership, guys. If you get a free membership from Mizu, make sure you're thanking them in the chat. There was like during that time, there was a tornado in Pilot Grove, and we heard a lot of reports of some damage over there, and we're just hoping that there's no injuries in Pilot Grove, Missouri. Yeah, latest scan here, still definitely a couplet here. No debris yet. Definitely need a little bit of a lightning bolt there. And that circulation, blue dots where our camera is, circulation is literally right next to us right now. Hopefully, if there's something potentially on the ground with this storm and doesn't show up on radar, we can see it pretty clearly with this camera. So we'll be getting an understanding of what is happening here really shortly. This is weather-wise. It's a free radar for the radar program itself, and there is a paid subscription version to it. And I really like the app, and I'm not sponsored by them. So Always feel free. I always give them a shout out because it's just a great radar app. But again, I'm not sponsored by them, so you can trust my opinion. I'm not forced to say anything positive about this app if it sucked. You can ask Radar Omega. I will tell you. All right, we should start seeing something here shortly. Where that rotation is now. Yeah, it's pretty much just behind where this camera is looking, so it should come into view that area of circulation very soon. Once it passes by our camera, this is looking northeast. Should show up on like the left side of our camera. Still a definite area of rotation here. Still no debris signature though. Again, we're not watching a warned storm right now, but we've got an unwarned, potentially dangerous circulation here. Yeah, there's that mesocyclone on the left side of the screen. Now showing up. That's where a tornado would drop out of that dark area that's moving on the left side of the screen. See what's happening with it. Hopefully this doesn't drop a tornado, but if it does, we'll be able to see it. Well, there's definitely a lowering underneath this storm, that is for sure. That is associated with it with rotation. So that is definitely a wall cloud that's appearing on the left side of our screen. My camera up just in case it's not clear what we're talking about. Our area of rotation would be right here. There's our wall cloud right above my head. And we're watching right under here for a tornado to potentially drop out of the storm. It's technically got enough rotation to spit out like a brief tornado. That's why we're watching it very closely, although it's not warned. Last scan just got more intense. Oh, yeah. A pretty strong rotation there. The no debris signature. But this camera's looking right at it. Keep your eye out for power flashes. Hopefully, we don't get shrouded in rain. I'm watching that left side. Power flash would be like a green flash. Oh, all right. The storm that we're watching just got tornado warned. If you live in Switzerland, Stevens, Murray, Browns, Hallsville, also Centralia, Thompson, Skinner, Hollinsville, and Molino. You guys need to be in your safe spots. This storm has a decent area of circulation on it, as you can tell by radar. That very well could try to produce a tornado here, and we're looking right at it. So, see if we see anything. Kind of zoom in that into that region here, where I think a tornado would happen. right on the right, kind of in like the center of the screen, center to left. Watching for flashes on the ground. The latest scan out of this storm. Maybe something popping up here. It could be a tornado on the ground. It's a little bit of a weaker signal, a little bit displaced from our velocity signature, so it's kind of hard to tell. I'm not seeing anything, and I'm not seeing any power flashes from our camera. Scanning the sky here to make sure we're not missing anything. Now, latest scan on this storm looks like that signal was either a very brief tornado that touched down there, and our camera is located here, looking up to the north, the east. It could have been like a very brief tornado on the ground, but that signal's not popping up anymore. Still haven't seen any debris signatures off in the distance yet, or any flashes. An interesting feature though, moving in front of the camera. That's the back side of the storm. Starting to wonder if like this camera's like maybe behind a couple of minutes, and then maybe that's the rotation. At least just the backside of the mesocyclone. Close in that area for a little bit. The latest scan here on the storm, still south and east of Hallsville, moving off to the north and east towards 22. Live in Centralia, I would certainly still be in your safe spots. I don't know. You didn't catch it on the camera. Not sure if that actually touched down or not. But there still is some pretty decent rotation with this storm. Our camera is now appears to be out of view of our storm. But if you live over here near Hallsville and Centralia, I would still certainly continue to be in your safe spots. Tornado Explorer, my thing's not loading for you. Can you try like going out and then into your stream again? Thing visible on your exterior cameras east of Hallsville. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, keep giving me updates on that. I want to know on what that camera's seeing. You're near. If you're east of Hallsville, you're pretty close. Athens, Ohio, Morgan, Perry, Ohio. $half sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Is it possible for this storm to reach Ohio? No, but there are storms in Ohio right now. Moving off to the east, they're mainly over there near Coshocton and McConnellsville. $1/2 sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. This storm over here near Randolph and Clinton, Leroy Empire, that is for 70-mile-per-hour winds. And then we got another severe thunderstorm over here going into Columbia. That is a tornado possible storm with 60-mile-per-hour winds inside of it. In terms of rotation, though, on that one, not really seeing a whole lot. Further down to the south near Springfield, looks like these storms are still struggling quite a bit. But even further south into areas like Fort Smith, we do have storms trying to mature with ping pong ball sized hail, trying to make it into the Barling, Lavaca, Greenwood, and Charleston area here in Arkansas. Let's see if any of my storm chasers have gone live. I haven't checked in that in a while. Looks like Storm Winter Media is scheduled now for 1 p.m., which would be about 2.5 hours. Don't think you have to worry about Chicago anymore. I mean, there's some rain moving in there. I mean, there's some clusters of storms coming. This is going to be your main threat. Some of them might become severe, but I feels like the tornado threat's probably relatively low up here, as far as I can tell. So, would still be weather aware just in case something changes. Thank you, Sven Gali, for becoming a WIMD member. Welcome. Thank you for pledging $1 a month to help support this channel. Thank you. There's no rotation near McKinley or McKinney there in Texas. It's severe thunderstorms tonight. Really just depends on how much this environment improves out here. I mean, we're gonna have a line of storms up here. Eventually, they're according to our latest model runs, the instability should, come back over here, over parts of Illinois and Indiana. So yeah, I mean, Columbus could definitely get some severe storms tonight. Yeah. Latest scan out of this storm. Which one of these are closer now? This radar might be closer now. 9,000 feet. Yeah, this radar is now closer to our storm. Still showing a decent area of circulation. A little bit weaker than it was before, a little bit broader, but still enough, I think, to be in your safe spots for sure. Check X when I get a chance. Okay. Eric said he was chatting with us chaser and Armin Polero, and he said you can use his stream anytime I want. He is live now. Arson Arrow? Armin. Might use their stream if they're are they live on YouTube? Yeah, SIGTOR parameter really doesn't mean much if you don't have any storms taking advantage of that environment. Spelling it wrong. Palermo. Okay. Palermo. Live. Okay. Yeah, we'll use his stream. I don't know where he is. Put 'em here. Never know, he might come across the storm and give us some helpful information before our main storm chasers go live, so might as well. This is Carmen Palermo. He's live on YouTube. Can't bring him full screen for some reason. We try to fix that. Hmm. Well, I'm gonna be honest. There we go. He's on a bridge. That does that give anybody any hints of where he is? Yeah, Carmen Palermo, I think is his name. Hopefully, I'm getting that right. He's heading towards Evansville. Okay. That's why he let me use the stream. I get it now. So he's in Indiana, down over here. So he might be helpful later today. I mean, we'll keep his feet underneath us, but we're still going to be using our cameras. 1 inch hail over there in Arkansas. Still going to be using our cameras for the most part to keep track of these storms. And thank you, Susan Vanters, for $5 donation. Thank you so much. We'll use that to pay our chasers and our bills today. We were having a decent day so far. Yeah, so far these storms are still struggling. They're further up to the north. This one seems to be maturing though. Near like the Elm Springs and Eureka Springs area, there is a little bit of rotation popping up on this storm as well. This could be one of those storms we have to keep a close eye on, as it is more discreet, semi-discreet there. Also over here near Fort Smith, looks like this storm is still trying to mature as it pulls up into Greenwood and Charleston, but not a whole lot of dangerous rotation on it right now. Back over here to our tornado warning. Let's go check in on our latest information here. Oh man, looks like our rotation is getting a little bit stronger here near Centralia. No debris signature on the ground at the moment, but this storm is certainly wrapping up yet again as it approaches 15. Let's see if we got any cameras in this area. Near New London, there might be some. Dang. Yeah, there's like no cameras north of 70. Not a single one. That would have been helpful. It's rule no cameras. Yeah. Hopefully, it's rule enough to where if this drops a tornado, that it doesn't cause much damage. But I do see some buildings in this area, unfortunately. It's some pretty intense rotation. That drops a tornado. That could be a strong one. Again, if you're in the path of this storm, I would certainly be in your safe spots. Ping pong ball sized hail now being warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Crawford, Franklin, they're in Arkansas. Yeah, I mean the main thing that we're going to be watching out for, still pretty much a guaranteed threat no matter what happens, is going to be, eventually a line of QLCS tornadoes, according to our latest HRRR. But one of the things that I am noticing here, at least for a brief moment, we do have a discrete storm mode. These storms are, really not in the best environment right now. But as they move into more instability and can mature, if they can stay discrete, that could be an issue. Yes, PB Smipes. That is definitely going to have an effect. We're just a little bit unsure on how much of an effect it's going to have. Golf ball sized hail being reported in Ohio. Wow, actually some pretty decent sized hail there. Let me see where that is. Not that one. Probably one of these to the south. That's this one. Golf ball sized hail now heading towards Coshocton and Newcomerstown. Watch out. That can crack some windows, put some dents into your cars, and make your dog very uncomfortable. So get your dogs and pets indoors and your cars as well. Latest scan here, they're still showing a decent area of rotation on this storm to the east of Centralia. Surprisingly, still no debris signatures. So this thing's pretty close to dropping a tornado, but it's just not quite there yet. So as far as I can tell on radar, still not one on the ground. But if you live like north of Mexico, here in Missouri, watch out. Another 1 inch hailstorm for Ashland, Lorain, and Medina. That's going to be kind of closer to the Cleveland area. Thank you, Spengali, for another $5 donation. Thank you so much. In Fulton, east of Columbia. Find that. How far east of Columbia is the question? Yeah, east of Columbia. I mean, your tornado threat's going to be pretty darn close to zero. There's not whole lot going on out here, and that most of that moisture is getting scraped away. So east of Columbia, never mind, I see it. I was looking west. Sorry, it's been a long, long couple of days. We've been live every single day for about 9 to 12 hours a day. So yeah, there's Fulton. Yeah, I mean, you're still gonna have to watch out for these storms after these storms passed. It'll be a little bit less dangerous. Until they do, I mean, there's going to be that tornado threat. South Hamner. New tornado watch issued for Arkansas. Before Sequoia, Crawford, Carroll, Franklin, Arkansas are all in that tornado watch. That is going to be for Hot Springs, Little Rock, Heber Springs, Russellville. Let's check out the latest details on this. Few tornadoes likely with a couple intense tornadoes possible. Scattered gusts of up to 70 miles per hour. And scattered large hail events to 1.5 inches in diameter are possible. Broken cluster of storms and some embedded semi-discrete supercells will spread east northward across the region early to mid-afternoon with an increased tornado risk aside from widespread damaging winds and hail. Tornado watch areas approximately along the 50 or 60 statute miles east and west of a line from 50 miles. Okay, that's going to confuse everybody. But yeah, bottom line is if these discrete storms can tap in and mature, they're going to be a big, they're going to be a big, they're probably going to be a big time tornado threat. It's probably the best way to put it. So you got to really watch out. Yeah, look at this one near Eureka Springs. It is starting to rotate quite a bit. So watch out there in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Let me see if we got any cameras near Eureka Springs. We got a lot of cameras in Arkansas. Not sure if we got any near Eureka Springs. And no cameras in Eureka Springs. Do have a camera though near, I think, where's Springdale? There's Springdale. Yeah, we got a camera just east of Springdale. Let me bring that up. 'Cause this storm might be about to go tornado warned. If we can get a sneak peek of what it's looking like near the surface before that happens. Facing westbound, just south. Yeah, I think this is facing away from the storm. It would be better if it was facing to the north. I don't think we're going to be able to sneak peek a view on this. Yeah, keeping a very close eye on this area. This will probably get tornado warned soon, so be ready to get into your safe spots there in Eureka Springs. Latest scan for this storm, still a tight area of circulation here in northern Missouri. Still pushing up to 15. Still no debris signature, though, on this storm. Is that a PDS watch? Let me see. Doesn't really specify on the thing. Tornado watch hasn't even hit NWS tornado. Let me see if I can find more details. Just by clicking on it. Usually that wording is with a PDS tornado watch. Okay, latest scan, maybe a little bit of a better look here on our storm. Less rotation. Yeah, a little bit less rotation from both of our radars, but still an area of circulation approaching the Eureka Springs area. This storm further down to the south here near Fort Smith, Arkansas, still trying to get its act together, heading towards Charleston. Those could be the storms of the day. These are going to be moving into the high risk area eventually. Thank you, Big, for becoming or for subscribing. Thank you so much. I don't know. It hasn't showed up on like the tornado, NWS tornado site, which is where I get all my graphics from. Oh, not sure when that's going to get started or when that's going to show up. Okay, latest scan here, just to the north and east of Centralia. Like our rotation is getting a little bit broader here. They want folks to be. Do I have desktop audio on right now? I do not. I accidentally turned it off. Make sure I can hear stuff. Yeah. Oh, I can hear stuff. Yeah, I had it off. Sorry. Thank you for reminding me. It's very helpful. No, I got you. I got you. I like them on too because they alert me if I'm looking for somewhere else. It alerts me to look. Crawford, Franklin, Madison, Arkansas. 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds on that storm. Latest scan on here. Area of rotation here, still a near Molino. A little bit weaker than it was. Still struggling to organize. Memphis and Paducah. Okay. And latest scan on this storm, it looks like it is struggling, pushing up towards Eureka Springs, but they did just put a 1.75-inch hail warning on this with 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts heading towards Kimberling City, Reed Springs, Coney Island, and Emerald Beach. That one still doesn't have anything on it. Wind chill, 60-mile-per-hour winds on the Coshocton storm now. So they did downgrade that from golf ball down to what's the word I'm looking for? Down to quarter sized. What would you need for weather streaming? OBS, or radar, webcam, a mic. That's pretty much it. And like a Photoshop for the thumbnails. Or you can use Canva too. Canva's pretty good too. All right, latest scan with the storm. Still some rotation there. Still not appearing to be on the ground though at this moment. Illinois side of St. Louis, probably in a little bit here. I would give it like 2 to 3 hours. These storms are moving pretty quickly. As long as they don't stall. Benton, Carroll, Madison, Arkansas, wind hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds for you. Watch out. Yeah, I wouldn't stream the weather if you're not knowledgeable because all you're going to do is potentially get some viewers and then mislead them. So if you don't know what you're talking about, don't do it. It's not just a thing that anybody can do. Carbondale's going to be a little bit. Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to extend this tornado warning. I mean, there still is a decent little area of circulation in there. Still pushing off towards 154 and Perry. North Lebanon, this storm is spaghettified. Wow, Springfield. All these storms just kind of died nearby you. Wow. Definitely not a very favorable environment for storms near Springfield right now. My goodness. The storms just evaporated. Stuttgart, where's that again? We just got a new information on this tornado warning. Looks like they are going to allow this warning to expire. So this warning is expired now. Back to the broad view. We shall see. What the next storm will bring. What I think about Michigan, really just depends. I mean, we have an area of storms, trying to develop. We did have a 70-mile-per-hour wind warning with the southern portion of this one. Also, Belmont, Gumsea, Monroe, Muskegon, Ohio, one in channel, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Big question though on whether or not that instability makes it up there in time to, preclude or to indicate a stronger threat. Should get our new mesoscale analysis data in though soon, I think. Actually, it might have just come in. Yeah, okay. It did just come in. So we got a new mesoscale analysis is showing that the environment is becoming increasingly conducive down here into parts of Arkansas where these storms are. Strong capping inversion is over there into parts of Missouri, but this will probably be our strongest tornado threat we have had in a while. Storm mode is still technically going to be an issue, but upper level winds are in the area. Let me see where our divergence is. Interesting. Our divergence is actually out in front of these storms. We might even see some storms start to fire in front of where these storms are in Arkansas. Just bring a threat for some, prefrontal supercells, and have to watch out for that as well. But seems like our surface inversion is trying to open up near these storms near Arkansas. So that's probably why they just issued that tornado watch with that intense wording on it, because of the improving environment down here. If these storms can tap into it, they can, produce tornadoes. Let me see where our lower level lapse rates. Yeah, here's the one thing that'll keep these storms at bay. Lower level lapse rates are really low. 5 to 5.5, they are going to struggle to mature in that environment. Man, I didn't realize how low our lapse rates were across the board. Is that supposed to increase at all? Yeah, that's supposed to technically increase about 4 hours from now. So 4 hours just might be the peak of our tornado threat. The storms will struggle for a little bit. They can still technically become tornadic if we get enough forcing, but that's some weak lapse rates. That actually makes sense of why we're not seeing these storms kind of blow up in intensity. There's some rotation on this. I wouldn't rule out a tornado threat. Even with lower lapse rates, they can still kind of mature, but we're not talking about like a long track tornado threat with these guys with 5 lapse rates. Lapse rates, by the way, if you're wondering, basically just tells you. So basically, if you've ever gotten into a lake and on the top of the lake, it's warm. On the bottom of the lake, it's cold. If you hop in, you can feel that difference between the cold and the warm, right? If you flip that upside down, you have warm on the bottom, cold on the top, right? That's your atmosphere. That's how the atmosphere works. The higher you go in the atmosphere, the colder the air, right? And the faster that warm air goes to cold air as you rise up in the atmosphere, the higher the lapse rates are, and that can indicate, um, how strong your updrafts can be. And typically, in a more mature storm, your updrafts usually need to be pretty strong. And so, if you have lapse rates under 6, that indicates that the updrafts might not be strong enough in the area to support thunderstorm or to support a tornado risk. But we have a decent amount of forcing in the area, so they are still storms to watch. But that forcing just might turn these storms more into a linear threat pretty quickly. It does not mean that it doesn't. I mean, they're already severe. It just means that they're going to struggle in comparison to, like, if we had like 7 to 8 lapse rates here, these storms would be monsters with, like, right now. If we had like 8 lapse rates, these storms would be producing like 2-inch hail. It would have had multiple PDS tornado warnings by this point. But because of those lower lapse rates, these storms are struggling to get their act together. I thank you, Sheena, for becoming a WIMD member. New MCD just dropped. Let's go check it out. So it looks like they are highlighting an area here, potential area of discrete storms. Boundary layer continues to destabilize. Greater tornado threat may develop. The storm arrives. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, man. We shall see. Again, today is more like an enhanced risk, maybe a moderate risk over here in this area. That's how conditional it is. That's how much disagreement we have on what these storms are capable on the models. I think the SPC put a high risk out just to be like, hey, if worst case scenario happens, watch out. Regardless, it's going to be a dangerous day. Mother Nature always wins. The models always lose. Go over and look at Ohio for a little bit. We do have some storms about to push into the Pennsylvania area. And so, just because the models are saying, oh, it's going to be a linear line and, some things aren't going to really line up correctly, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like yesterday, it was kind of the opposite example of that. We had the model saying we could have widespread, large supercells with potentially intense tornadoes under them. And no storms actually matured, and we didn't get any large scale tornadoes in that area. And so, yeah, you can just tell that there's always going to be an air of uncertainty. And it's always best to just be prepared and ready to go just in case things line up as they can. Because in a day like this, if they line up just right, and you get EF4, EF5 out of a day like this. The thing is, they have to line up just right. And as of right now, they're not quite doing that. I mean, our wind shear is just really strong. That's why everybody's kind of on their toes here. We have really strong wind shear in this area. So, but that's not going to do anything if our storms can't mature and tap into that environment. Thoughts on Shreveport? Shreveport's going to be a little bit later, but the thunderstorms are trying to make it down there. You see, we got a line of storms trying to develop as far south as like Gatesville. Eventually, that will be Shreveport's threat. Let me see what the wind shear is like there. I mean, strong enough wind shear to support strong tornadoes in that region. But the big question mark down there is the forcing is going to be a lot weaker down there. It's going to be pretty far removed from our low pressure system, which is currently like up here in this region. So it's going to be really hard for storms to mature down there. But if they can, I mean, there's definitely going to be a tornado threat. Hey, look, it's Carmen. So this is who's storm chasing for us. Let's see what he's saying. Is he saying anything?
Cloudy. A lot more cloudy here.
He's noting the clouds.
Yeah, I know. I did it. I did it for a second because I was trying to check something. Sometimes it freezes and I need to.
Everybody say hi to Carmen. He's gonna be out there chasing this thing. He's still getting in position, but he hit us up and he was like, "Hey, you can use my stream if you want." And so there you go. Carmen is out there. I've never met him before until today, but he sounds like a nice guy. Trying to get the word about the storms. And thank you, Wendy, for gifting 10 memberships. Thank you so much. And if you guys get a membership from Wendy, make sure you're thanking her, or there will be consequences. I'll let you just imagine what those consequences will be. You better thank her. And thank you, Jinxie, or Jinx, for being a member for 1 month. Signing off. Hopefully, there's no more severe for Chicago. I hope so. I mean, we're pretty close to being able to say you guys are completely in the clear. We're not quite there yet. They got one more little line of storms that is going to be coming through Joliet and Chicago. But then after that, that's it. After like this part clears out of the Chicago area and you're back in like this kind of rain, that's it. Nothing left for Chicago. Well, where is this going? Let me just make sure this isn't trying to. Well, maybe not. There's still another area, actually. It actually might be a kind of a long day, just depending if that can make it up there, too. It should struggle, but you never know. I take back everything I said. That could make it up there. Could eventually make it up there. Actually, we got a little bit of rotation on these storms. Not strong, but I have to keep an eye on that area eventually. Hey, quick question. You guys mind if I grab breakfast really quick? I kind of just like woke up and then like immediately started streaming because we had a tornado on the ground. Absolutely not. Rude. It'll take a minute. It'll literally take a minute. I got some things I could throw quickly in the microwave and it literally takes a minute to cook. So I'll be back in like a minute. Dang, jeez Louise, we just lost 100 viewers just because I announced that. That's crazy. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Stay tuned. Let's see how many people. Let's see how many people think eating is unacceptable. Well, it's like 200 people. Wow. Can't believe that. I'm joking, of course. I understand why. Some people have attention spans of about, 7 seconds. All right. So you leave the stream for more than 7 seconds, people leave immediately. They come back eventually sometimes. I always joke about it though because what it looks like is happening. It looks like people are like, oh my gosh, he's eating. I'm leaving, but that's not actually what's happening. They're just like they just get randomly bored and they might go check Twitter for a second, then come back. Or that. Yeah, other people might have got food too. I always like to joke about it when there's nothing going on. Still in the storm waiting room again, which is good. Storms are not looking too dangerous. Well, let me not say that before I look at radar. I say that sometimes, and then like there's like a storm rotating, so we'll hold on that. Okay, yeah, we're still good. Still good across the boards. Man, these storms are weak right now. They are struggling, but it should improve. The lapse rates are forecasted to improve, but I will tell you this: if for some reason they do not do as forecasted, um, these storms are going to struggle. There's one of them. Try to eat away from the mic. Or just like mute it when I'm chewing. This one over here south of Springfield looks like it's about to move into like some 6 lapse rates. Moving north and east. Just line stalling. Wouldn't say it's stalling yet. It does seem like we're getting a lot of training of moisture over the Springfield area, though. Kind of seems a little bit stalled, like in that area. Put any stock in NATO cast? A little bit. It sometimes gets it right. Sometimes gets it dead wrong. Just depends. It's an AI program, so you know. Let me mute this. It's an AI program, so AI programs can hallucinate sometimes, and when they hallucinate, they just spit out garbage. Really, Faith? Now that's impressive. Faith says she hasn't missed in a live stream since 2024. Not a single one. Not even the ones I initiated at randomly at 3 a.m. That's impressive. And this storm, so our better lapse rates are like out over here, but we also have a little. Another thing that I'm noticing as of our latest SPC outlook is that our storms are kind of in like a little bit of a surface capping environment. So there might be a little bit of like an outflow boundary sneakily hanging out over here. I mean, right out in here, that's where your area of uncapped, pristine instability is. I mean, and they're like right on the line of that. So you got to think that some of these storms in Arkansas should eventually try to get a little bit stronger if those when those lapse rates improve. Because like lapse rates over here in like central Missouri are also improving, and that's where that little storm down over here is heading directly into that area. So we should see this storm try to do something here soon. This yes, that is literally the purpose. There are so many people out there, not just YouTubers, but also news people, all that kind of stuff. That will during these times they will just constantly remind you how dangerous the environment is, and it is. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't need to be forced down your throat 24/7. If things are calm, we're going to be calm with it. When things ramp up, we're going to be using a little bit more of scary words, and it's not going to be as calm, obviously, if we have a PDS tornado warning and there's like a city in the path. But I try to keep the tone of the stream equal to the storm's intensity, and really try to just make sure that I'm telling you exactly what I see instead of using tactics. Because again, people do use tactics to scare the crap out of you and will lie to your face. In fact, we might have had an example of that earlier in Joplin, as apparently a news station was reporting a rain wrapped tornado in Joplin. Ow. It's rain wrapped. So I don't know. And we don't have any damage reports out of Joplin. So he might have just been saying that to keep people hooked onto his TV when there was rotation. It just wasn't very strong. Yeah, the Weatherman Plus, Direct Weather, GM Weather, they're all major clickbaiters. Luckily, they don't live stream. I can't even imagine how they would live stream. Oh my goodness. A direct weather live stream? I wonder what he would say. I wonder what he would say. That would be an interesting one. I would watch it just to see how crazy he sounds. He'd probably be oh, like, yeah, there's a severe thunderstorm warning, but this is going to go directly into that instability and blow up, and there's going to be a nuclear storm explosion, and we're going to have a 10-mile wide wedge. There will be a divot where there was your city. That's how I would imagine he would do like a. That's how I imagine somebody would like that was a fear monger would do something. Jonesboro, Arkansas, you just got a severe thunderstorm warning for quarter-sized hail. Watch out for that. In the latest SBC update, the moderate risk grows more in central Indiana and extreme southwestern Ohio. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Path Medic Jan, for the 10. Thank you so much for keeping us all safe. Someone tell me what CAPE means. CAPE is the. So this is what CAPE looks like on the mesoscale analysis, but it means convective available potential energy. And essentially, it means, how buoyant your air is out in front of a storm, right? So if you have really buoyant air, the air can lift faster and easier. When it's less buoyant, it's harder for that lifting to happen. And, when you look at a storm and you see it bubbling, that's that air lifting. And so the easier that storm can bubble up with that, and we call it storm food because that's what storms eat as they're, moving or as they are trying to mature. And yeah, it's basically just storm food. But essentially, it tells you the buoyancy of the warm air that is out in front of the storm. Actually, we might be able to get a view. I'm not sure if it's going to be worth it, but I mean, we got nothing better to do. Maybe we'll go spy on this storm real quick. Over here near Fort Smith.